So, driving to work, this occurs to me. Thinking about my experience through law school in a very general sense, especially upon getting to law school. Because I had this idea in my head that law school was going to be this magically different place from undergrad. That because it was based and founded upon the law, it would naturally be, and this wasn't the word I used at the time, this is the word I believe I uncovered as far as the meaning I was actually looking for. But I thought it would be naturally a little bit more conservative because you had to base your decisions upon the law. Because at the time, it seemed fundamentally adverse to the legal profession to me to bend the law to your will. It was a matter of working within the parameters of the law, not trying to expand the parameters as much as you... It's obviously this is different. So it was all about being the most ethical advocate you could under the terms dictated by the law. I think that's a better way to put it. That was my fantasy world that I was walking into at law school. And I saw the law as a shield. I still do. I see the law as a shield as well as a sword. But this is the distinction that occurred to me. And this was my disappointment when I got to law school, is law school itself, the administration, and many of the students will chime in and say that the law is a shield, the law is a shield. However, when you pick apart their language, and I wish it was illegal for me to show some of my peers' papers, but I don't believe it is unless they put them in a public forum. I'll have to go hunting around for some of those. But the point being, it seems to me that this new age, politically correct, liberalized, lefty legal indoctrination is geared more towards creating a legal wall to hide behind. There's no more shield and sword, and I'll get to the important distinctions there. But they want to build a wall. They want to build a wall of laws that they can hide behind, where the laws will contain within them all requisite action. They would be self-authenticating, self-enacting. I imagine that's why there's this fascination with AI and robots, because that's essentially what it would be. That would be self-authenticating and self-enacting law, especially if you replace traditional forms of law enforcement with that. So let's get to the distinction. Wall versus shield. Do they both protect you? Yes, but with the shield, you have to protect yourself. You can have a shield. You can have the world's biggest shield, but if you do not direct it towards the force that is aggressing towards you, that means you harm, your shield won't do you any good. Your shield is a tool that you have to use. A wall is something you build with tools. A wall is something you can hide behind. A wall is something, once constructed, requires no action from yourself other than perhaps maintenance. Whereas a shield, you actually have to know how to use it. You have to put it between you and the danger. And I think that's an important distinction. I think that's a big difference between your conservative law students and your lefty law students. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more because I think that's an important idea. So, the law as a shield. Now that I've had a nice, splendid day of legal work, I get to sit in this beautiful, beautiful traffic in the hot Florida sun in my wonderful Toyota that I guess you could say has air conditioning. It has air conditioning as long as I'm moving forward, so there's that. But those are all pitiful little sidetracks to the real point, the real issue, which is law. The law, and it's used as a shield, and not just these slow assholes driving around me. Anywho, so I do believe I said it was quite important. Yes, the law as a shield. Very important indeed. I can't wait to get these goddamn windows open so it's not so fucking loud, because I have no idea if I can even be understood right now. But let's give it a try. So I'm pretty sure when I left off, I was talking about how I made the distinction between how I personally, it's my opinion, the law is a shield. Now, it may be my opinion, but my opinion is also supported by, I think, hundreds of years of use of the law. It's been used and referenced to as a shield and a sword. Let's see. Yeah. So let's outline that. Law as a sword versus law as a shield. And yeah, I know we're creating a third category here instead of just a wall. But I think the wall versus the shield is easy to understand, and we can get back to that. But it's important to understand because I'm sure some people who are either pseudo knowledgeable in the law or just wind up doing their research when they look up keywords like the law as a shield, and they just want to say I'm wrong. They're going to say, oh, well, the law is a sword as well. Yeah, that's true. That's true. For instance, patent law. Patent law is a classic example of the law as a sword. It's because patent law doesn't protect your idea so much as it enables you to literally go out and cut the profits away from people who have used your idea without permission. You can't stop them from doing it so much as you can get the profits that you should have gotten in the first place. It's very difficult to have your patent completely shut somebody down because in the scheme of things, if you've got somebody who can take your... So let's say, you have this guy, he's got this patent for this really great idea. I'm not even going to say what the idea was, because it could be any idea. Let's say you have this guy who comes up with the best fucking idea ever. It's the best idea ever. Sliced bread? Fuck that shit. It is nothing compared to this idea. Best idea ever. That doesn't mean he has the ability to manufacture it. He has the ability to market it. It doesn't mean that he has the ability to get it into the market and have people use it and benefit from it. So having an idea is one thing, and being able to get it out into the market is an entirely different thing. That's why patent law works the way it does. It would be counterproductive to society as a whole if patent law allowed you to say, that's my idea, you're not allowed to use it at all. Well, if that was the case, somebody might still be sitting on the light bulb patent because they might think it would be more valuable to wait to release it than to get it out into the market. The way the principles work currently is it's more favorable to allow somebody to steal your idea provided you can get the profits back that you should have gotten in the first place. And it strikes an interesting balance because it creates an incentive where people can and arguably should steal patents provided they can afford to steal the patent and, get it out into the market. Because they're not just going to have to be able to cover their overhead to get the product out into the market. They're also going to have to cover legal fees. They're also going to have to take into account that their profits are going to be, I believe the technical term would be, disgorged. So go ahead and let that word paint the picture in you. You can see this mighty bull with swords as horns just raging towards your pocket or bank account, whichever you prefer to visualize, and it just tears it open, and out comes pouring the profits that you should have had in the first place, provided you are the patent holder. But you can't really stop anybody. It's not going to help you get a temporary injunction is an entirely different animal. It would have nothing to do with your patent. But that's, again, I guess you could say it's an important distinction. Not necessarily as important as the shield and wall, but just in case somebody goes, oh, well, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. The law can be a sword just as well as a shield. Well, yeah, it can, you motherfucker. Whoever was that nitpicky. But let's move on to the shield and wall issue, because that, to me, is where you really start diving into the lefty versus right, and that's what I fucking hate that it's devolved into left versus right. It makes it seem far more simple than it is, but unfortunately that's what it is. I think it's more accurate to say left versus conservative, because even libertarians like myself have become more conservative as far as the popular ideal is concerned. But the shield and wall distinction, to me, it falls along cultural lines. It's not born of legal principles. It's born of cultural use. You have some people who see the law as a tool, and other people It's not a tool. See it as an institution. See it as an institution from which they can benefit. And I refuse to see law as an institution. That would make it dangerous. Law is a tool, and it's important to keep it like that. So that's where I'm going to go. Now for what appears to be part 3 of my little rant about how the law should be a shield and not, I repeat, not a goddamn wall. Why? 'Cause walls are for lazy people. You heard me. You fucking heard me. Walls are for lazy people. Lazy people who don't want to protect themselves, who don't want to feed themselves, who don't want to go out and fucking look for new things. That being said, I love me some walls. Like, I really do. I got some nice walls at home. I like those. I want to keep those walls. But I will readily admit that walls are for weak people. Walls are for weak people. When was the last time you saw a tiger with walls? I can tell you where. In a fucking zoo. There's a very, very important element to that scenario. The tiger is not free. The tiger is not free. The second you have walls, you have sacrificed an element of freedom for protection. You don't have to like that. That is the way it is. You don't have to be okay with it. You don't have to agree with me. Because if you don't agree with me, you have to prove me wrong. That's the thing, though. You got to prove me wrong. But as a matter of fact, a wall is a restriction on freedom. Doesn't mean it doesn't come without benefits, but it is a restriction on freedom. And just like a wall keeps you from going where you want to go, a wall in the legal scheme would provide a giant obstacle. And that's what it would become. It would become an obstacle. Instead of a tool that should be used, for instance, for people who need shielding, it would just become an obstacle. So it wouldn't matter how it was used. It would just be a simple, it's kind of like some of the procedural elements in law, like statute of limitations. You could view those as walls amongst the shield of the law. So let's say you have a 2-year statute of limitations, somebody did something bad to you, and 2 years and 1 day has gone by, and you finally decide that, yeah, whatever this guy did to me was so bad, I really, I've been hurting, it's cost me my job, whatever it is. It's been 2 years and 1 day, and you decide that now is the time to address the issue created by this other person. Well, too fucking bad. Too fucking bad. Because the statute of limitations is a wall. It's not a tool, it's a wall. It is. It is an obstacle that is there, and once you reach it, you can go no further. Once the 2 years has elapsed, if you haven't begun an action, there are some exceptions. So let's say there was fraud involved. You didn't actually know that the individual had caused the harm to you because they lied to you about it. They misrepresented the damage done to you or their part in it. That can affect the 2-year timer. So it's a wall with some options. That being said, it's still much more of a wall than a shield. It's not something that you can really move around or orient. It's more of a wall with a little door in it that has one of those sliding latches on it. And there's a guy behind the latch that goes, "What's the password?" And you have to have the right password. Otherwise, you're fucked. It's over. It's done. You can't get past the wall. You have to have the right password. You have to say, it's okay that I filed this action 2 years and 1 day later because the person that hurt me lied about it. Yeah, we won't get too complicated. Lied about it. And then the guy behind the door goes, "Okay, that's the password." And he lets you in. And apparently on the other side of this legal wall is a pirate's den. I don't know where that character came from, but he's there. So that's that. There are some naturally occurring walls in the tool chest of the law. And I'm sure I could refine that idea even more. Maybe they aren't walls so much as they are... Actually, no. I think right now I'm comfortable calling them walls. They're pretty solid obstacles. So, Jesus fucking Christ. That guy really wanted to hit me. Holy shit. Statute of limitations is a wall. Most other legal principles are a shield or a sword. And most of the principles that wind up being enacted that fall between the spectrum of shield and sword fall within the genre of shield. They allow you to prevent somebody from hurting you, prevent somebody from hurting you more. They may even allow you to prevent somebody from filing a legal action against you. You may know that somebody is going to file a legal action against you, and you may know that they would be in the wrong, so that you can head them off at the pass. You can go to the judge and say, Judge, I have these facts that say this is going to happen, so I think this person is going to do this, and I need you to tell that person that this would be wrong if they did this. That's right. You can go to a court of law and have them tell somebody that what they are about to do or what they are in the process of doing is wrong, so as a matter of law, they should stop or they should perhaps start, depending on what the issue is. You can have a declaratory judgment made for you to clear up an issue. That happens quite frequently. It's kind of fucking silly if you ask me. It shows you how fucking piss poor the law schools are, and whether that's in intellectual rigor or ethical rigor, take your fucking pick. I think it's probably both. I think you've got people that genuinely don't understand how to operate within the legal system, so they do things incorrectly, and then you have some people that are just trying to game the system. Either way, I'm getting a little sidetracked and I'm dealing with fucking traffic. Perhaps talking about this shit in the car is not the best place, but right now it's the only time I have, so that's where I'm going to talk about it. So yeah, declaratory judgment. It's a great example of a shield. You can literally head somebody off at the pass. So it's like having a shield that's so spiky and effective that you see that sword stroke coming for you, and you bring your shield in front of you, and the shield is so menacing that the guy who's swinging the sword at you is just like, oh no, fuck that. I'm not even going to try. They just drop the sword and turn away. That's a declaratory judgment. Whereas a temporary restraining order, I'm getting into the weeds with this shit. I really am. I need to break this down. I really want to get into, I'm sure I would get in trouble doing this. I've been racking my brain trying to look up the legalities into this, because they're going to change very steeply once I get accepted into the bar. I may be a little audacious, thinking that I will just be accepted into the bar. Still got some things waiting in translation with that. But unfortunately, I'm relatively confident that I can't just start lecturing on legal principles, unfortunately. I can talk a little bit about things here or there, but the law as a shield is something I can talk about, because the law is a tool and should be a tool. It should not be an institution. The second the law becomes an institution, that's when we go back to that whole artificial intelligence issue I was talking about earlier. That's when we let the law control those who are subject to it. And that's not the way it works. That's not the way it works. The law, much like democracy, is supposed to be this scheme of rules. And the rules don't simply control, like, there's supposed to be a discussion and a consensus on the rules beforehand. This goes to something that Stefan Molyneux talks about all the goddamn time, and I'm still trying to wrap my head completely around it. I think I could get a better and better understanding of it, but what is it? Yeah. UPB, that's what it is. Universally preferable behavior. That is the law. That is the law, or at least what the law once was, perhaps should be, is universally preferable behavior. That's what it should be, because that's what the laws are. The laws just don't exist. I mean, you could say there are some natural laws, like kill or be killed, blah, blah, blah. That's not what I'm fucking talking about. I'm talking about civilization, and laws within civilizations have to be decided upon beforehand, and they're either decided upon by consensus or power. It's one or the other. You either negotiate for them, or you use your power to bypass negotiation. I don't think it should take much of an argument to make that clear. I think history makes that pretty fucking clear. You either have Athens or you have Persia. Granted, there's lots of little nuances between the two, but I think they're solid archetypes. And they both obviously have their downfalls. That's fucking clear.